Alright, so this is kind of off the dome. I was meaning to do like an anti-Eliza thing for a while back when I was playing, but I never got around to it. But figure since you asked, I could put this together. Um, she's not a particularly hard matchup to learn. It's just she's so rare that nobody knows how to deal with her. Um, but yeah, the first thing when you're learning any matchup in this game or in any fighting game is to know what that character's strengths and weaknesses are, so you know what their general game plan is and what they want to do and what they want you to do, so that you don't end up playing into them. Her strength as a character is her counter hits. She is probably the most defensive character in the game, at least when you play like somewhat solid, where she's kind of just moving backwards the whole time and trying to get you to run into something so she can launch you and take you to the wall. Her whole game plan is about taking you to the wall. I'm gonna drop a lot of shit because I haven't played in a month and this is PS4. But she just wants you at the wall because she has ridiculous mix-up potential there. Like once she gets you here, you just have to start guessing. Especially when she has meter, you don't want to beat her against her. So your goal against her should be to keep your back off the wall. What she does is she particularly exploits people who try to brawl with her, and I think that's why I consider her actually a good matchup for Lei. So that's something you have to watch out for, and it's why you have to sort of change up your mindset when you play her, where you have to play in a way to minimize mistakes, because the more you swing at her, the less she kind of has to play Tekken. Because when you just come in and start swinging, she's gonna counter hit you, right? She has incredible counter hit tools, one of the best Magic 4s. This is a great counter hit tool. Counter hit launcher. Counter hit launcher. I can't do it on PS4, but she just has a ton of counter hit launchers, right? Counter hit launcher. Not a counter hit launcher, but good counter hit tool. Counter hit launcher, she has full bars. Right. So you get the point, counter hit launcher, counter hit launcher. She's it's kind of like Brian, right? And in a lot of ways it is kind of like fighting Brian, with two major differences. She doesn't have a hatchet kick and she has bad range. So her strengths are her wall game, her counter hit tools, her combo potential. And she can control space pretty well. Her tracking's kind of decent. Like she doesn't have god tier tracking, but it's good because of her Magic 4. Her weaknesses are her offense, her neutral in general. She probably has the worst neutral in the game, which is mainly because her frame data is really bad. So that's one thing. Her neutral herself is really stubby, so that's the other thing. Despite being good against stubby characters, she's also a stubby character. Her jab has I think the 4th worst jab range. Her downfall 1 doesn't have a ton of range. Her downfall 4 is kind of stubby. Down 3 clean hit, you have to literally be touching them. So you should actively be moving, right? This means you should always try to be moving away, and you need to play a hit and run game against Eliza. If you're playing Lei and you're trying to just swing into her and you're trying to build momentum and you're doing Razor Rush and I want to get in your face and mix you up, because that's what Lei generally wants to do, she's gonna kill you. She's gonna eventually land something like this, and that's what I do when I fight Lei. Even though I don't know a ton about the matchup, I don't need to when I play Eliza, because she's such a good anti-mash character that if you just try and get in her face and brawl, you're going to lose. She's gonna counter hit you. So you have to be very specific with when you try to hit her And you sort of like you get your damage and you just get out, right? She also, you know, EXDP, these defensive tools that are just really good. They act as like stop signs, and I think a lot of people struggle against her because they're trying to like go in, right? You know, if you're a Hwarang player, you're used to just going in and doing offense. You know, you just do down 3-4, you start your flamingo offense, and you just keep going. But then she just stops your momentum with one big counter hit or an EXDP. So you have to remember that in situations where against most of the cast you would just keep building momentum and keep brawling, you have to stop against Eliza. You want her to try to initiate the offense, because when she's on the offensive, she's gonna do something that risks getting her killed, because again, her lows are terrible. All of her lows are launch punishable, every single one. The risk reward on a lot of her offensive tools is just not great. So, you know, if you're just running around right here, there's not really too much I can do to threaten you. You know, if I'm just standing around here, she doesn't really have too much. Now, if you all of a sudden run into her and start swinging, you're like, oh, I'll get some damage here, then she's gonna kill you. So I think the general, like the TLDR, and this goes for any character, and I think the biggest thing to remember when fighting her is like, anytime you're fighting Eliza and you're thinking, I'm gonna go in and get some damage and pressure her, the Eliza player is thinking the exact same thing. That's what they want. They want you to start swinging into her mindlessly, because when they catch on to your timing, you're dead. So yeah, you generally want to play more hit and run, right? With a character like Lei, you would want to use like hell sweeps, you know, that has long range. Her backdash is pretty bad. It's really bad actually, so it's hard for her to get away from it. She has to like, she can low crush you and stuff, but you know, she risks getting knocked out of that. You know, whatever more long range tools Lei has. Lei doesn't have a ton, which again is why I think she's good against Lei. But you just want to be careful. You just want to not mash and play hit and run. But then other than that, I think this is kind of a thing that applies to like anyone when fighting Eliza. A lot of it is just knowing frame data and knowing what's fake and what's not. So I'll probably just go over like a lot of her key moves and you know, what their weaknesses are. So her jabs, I mentioned, they're fairly stubby, but they are decent. This 1-2 can't duck this. It's only -1, right? So she has a lot of options off of it, at least in terms of like mids. And she also has an extension 1-2-4, so you don't want to mash. So if you see her doing jabs, you don't want to just mash into her. Because this is like Eliza, which can do 1-2-4 counter hit launch you. So keep that in mind. She also has 1-2-3, which you're like never gonna see, but if you do, just launch that. -1 billion. But yeah, don't mash after her jabs a lot. She can blow you up. Her down forward 1, so this is a big one. I see a lot of people not deal with this down forward 1, right? So she has 2 extensions off her down forward 1. She has down forward 1-4, which is -9. Has slight pushback, but again, -9 is pretty bad. She can't even EXDP after that if you do like a quick move. If you do something really slow, she can EXDP, because at that point you basically just reset neutral. But if you do like a quick down for 1 or something after this, she kind of has to hold that. So this is important. Now this is mid-high, but generally it's not even worth ducking, because like I said, this is -9, and then she has a mid-mid, which is -12. Nobody ever punishes this, but you do want to punish this, because the extension, right, she gets a follow-up. She can actually, like I said, I can't do it on PS4, but she can launch you. Alright. If you have the execution for it. Most like Eliza's, your typical Eliza online isn't gonna be able to do that, but someone like Showmatic, like he will be able to do that. So yeah, punish down forward 1-2, and you step down forward 1 to Her left, yeah. So you step her down foot 1 to the left. Left is generally, like you see, her weak side. Eliza has a really good side step, so this is more of an extreme, but yeah. You want to step her left. So yeah, punish down foot 1, 2. What other key moves does she have? I'm trying to think of mids. She's got this. This is -8. It's just a downfall for her. It's not too scary. The next big one would be 442. You probably saw this move a lot if you fought like any Eliza. They use this a ton. It's pretty fast. Has decent range and it knocks down. Right, so this is one of her better moves. It is -9 though. It has a little pushback. So this is a flowchart you have to watch out for. I know Showmatic, he likes doing these flowcharts a lot too, so you gotta really be careful. A lot of Elizas will do a move that has pushback, like for instance this, or 442, and then they'll try to counter hit you, right? They'll do this to try and catch you like delaying your button, or if they think you're not immediately gonna take your turn. So if you catch them doing that, like just take your turn immediately, right? Just don't let her get away with that. But yeah, do watch out for like moves with pushback into like a counter hit move. A lot of characters have flowcharts like that in general. But with 442, you just have to know that it does give up her turn. So if you block it, that's a chance where you can hit her. And it has pretty good tracking too. But you can also step that to the left. It's a little harder to do in a real match. But yeah, see, it tracks heavily to the right. But yeah, you want to step that to the left. So step her to the left a lot. Like I said, sorry, it's a little unorganized. It's just kind of off the dome. I'm just trying to think of important things that would help in this matchup. But yeah, you're kind of starting to see like she has really bad frame data. So a lot of times if you kind of just run around at this range and you stare at her, she's gonna do something that risks getting herself killed, or she's gonna give up her turn. So you want her to be on the offensive, not you. In terms of other like meterless tools, her magic 4, so this is another one you gotta watch out for. This is homing, and it's -5. So like a flowchart that she can do if you don't immediately take your turn. She can do like, you can do that. Right. So if I immediately do a down for 1, you know, I win. But if I don't immediately, like if I delay my down for 1, she beats me out, and then I get counter hit. So you have to watch out. After her magic 4, she is -5, so she can like flowchart this. Some Elizas, this is fake now, but they'll Dickjab, EXDP. So watch out for a flowchart after her magic 4, because she's only -5. And those are most of her important mids and highs. So, her defensive tools. So this is the big one. People don't blow this up ever, but this move, back on 2, you'll see this a lot on Eliza, because it's a move she has to use. It's not as good as it seems on paper, but she has to use it a lot. This does have some evasion to highs, right? She can slip under highs. And it's a counter hit launcher, 14 frame counter hit launcher, so it's pretty fast, decent range. The second hit is the one that launches, and it can track you pretty heavy too. So yeah, you can walk it to the left, but I know it has to be a very specific like step, because she can easily Like sometimes it'll just randomly like realign with you. See? Like that. So you have to watch out for that. But it is unsafe on block at -13. So what a lot of people do is they know it's unsafe. They don't know it's -13, but they know like, oh, I can you know, punish that with something. And then she starts doing the third hit. Back 1, 2, 4. And this catches people all the time. People always smash into this string. Always. This knocks down. It's a wall splat. The thing is, so this is -13, forces crouch. So, you know, you think, oh, that's pretty good. You know, Eliza herself, she doesn't, well, she can get a big punish, but most characters, you know, that might be a while standing 4 or whatever. You know, unless you're Kazi or Josie. Thing is, though, this string is, this like mix-up, oh, I'm still used to PC, is kind of fake. Like there's not as much of a mental mix as you think, as in like, is she gonna finish it or not, right? Right. Because normally you just get that, and I think, oh, she's not gonna finish it, I get hit, but now, see that? You can step it to the right. Every single character in this game can step it. Like when I say everyone, I mean everyone. Eddie, Bears, Marduk, they can all step this to the right. If you're like a god, you can step it on reaction because the last hit is 26 frames. But generally what happens is when you see her do back 1, 2, you want to just always sidestep, right? Because what happens is, you know, unless you know for a fact, like you're 100% confident she's not going to finish it, then you can just punish. But if you're unsure, just step. Because if I see you stepping, now I don't want to throw the string out as much. Because now instead of, you know, me just potentially eating a while standing 4, right, if I finish it and you just block, or just a 13 frame while standing punish, I get launched. You know, the risk reward is now not as heavily in my favor. So, you know, at best, if I step this, I launch her. At worst, you know, I take my turn back. You know, she's heavily minus. So when you see this move, sidestep. You want to be sidestepping. So that's a big one. Nobody ever really does that. The only player I've fought, the only 2 players I've fought that consistently step that and know how to deal with that are Azure and High. They're the only players who will actually step that. And because of that, I can't use it as much against them. So the other, oh, this is the other really big one. This is huge. This move, 4-4-3-4. So this, once upon a time was her best move. Like this is high homing, high. The first hit is homing. Safe at -7. And it is a screw and normal hit launcher. So this is good because obviously if I see you, you know, this is what I do in ranked. Like when I go into ranked, I dumb down my game plan to literally just this because I know it always works. I'll start chucking out fireballs and people start sidewalking, right? Which is not how you deal with fireballs. How you deal with fireballs is you step and then you dash block to like inch your way in. But people will often, they'll just start moving like this, which is just kind of asking to die. Right, so if I see, right, she throws a fireball, I start sidewalking, and then boom, I get launched. The thing about this string is that if it is high, it does not jail. You can duck this, right? Now she does have a mix-up out of it, but this is unsafe. A lot of Elizas aren't going to do this, and it's just generally not as good. Like she can combo off of it in certain situations, but it can be a little inconsistent. Like this move just isn't that good. But this move in particular, if you are not ducking this move, she legitimately goes up like 2 tiers, tier, maybe even 2. Like, I'm not exaggerating. She goes from being one of the weaker characters in the game to like she's gonna run through you. This used to jail. They took it away in season 3. But if you don't duck this, like, she will spam this, rightfully so. This becomes one of the best moves in the game. So you need to be ducking this, right? Even if you just duck it once, it's enough to show the Eliza player that she can't just throw this out, you know? If I know I can't just throw this out, now, all of a sudden, I can't get in as easy, right? I don't have this incredible like space control tool. I can just come in from like this range and launch you. You know, that's also homing. So I lose access to her best move, essentially. So you need to duck this every single time. If you see her start doing this, because 9 times out of 10, if you see this come out, they're gonna go for the high because it's safe. And you know, another flow charge is like that on block into EXCP. But you need to duck this. If you take anything away from this, it's duck this move, right? Duck this move, sidestep this. The other big one that no one ever deals with. This is like the trio of like the moves you should know how to deal with. And this is the third. It's this move. You probably saw Showmatic do this. Again, I haven't seen the matches yet, but Eliza players, this is like a big knowledge check. If you know how to deal with this move, like I then just assume you know this matchup, because most people, like, and when I say most people, I mean even pro players, like the best in the world, just don't know how to deal with this move. So this move, 4/4/4/2 into, she can cancel into Dark Wave or EX Dark Wave. So there's a couple ways to deal with this. If you have a parry or a reversal, you can parry the second hit. Yeah, PC, damn it. Never do that. You can also, so there is a gap if she does the normal version. So this is the normal version. 10 frames will beat her, 13 frames will not, right? Oh, 13 frames trade, I'm sorry. So 10 through 12 frames can interrupt this. Anything higher than that, you get beat. Some characters can even step it, but it's a little like, it kind of depends on your character. See? Some characters can step this easier than others. Now, then comes this version, right? This is the one, I use this move a lot because no one ever blows it up. And if you're not blowing this up, you're just giving her essentially this access to this really good move, this mid long range, you know, launcher that, you know, on block leaves her into a Moonglide mix-up, right? Because EX Dark Wave, she's plus 10. You can actually option select this. Some characters have unique option selects, but there is a universal option select, with the exception, I think, of Jack and Shaheen, because their power crushers are too slow. But yeah, you can power crush. Right, and Eliza's power crush is also really slow. She has one of the worst power crushers, 25 frames. But if you have a power crush, you can power crush straight through that. Both versions, it beats even the EX version. So when you see this move come out, just throw out a power crush. So it's pretty simple to deal with, but nobody ever does it. Or like I said, if you have a reversal, you can just parry the second hit. So that's most of her mids and highs in the open. Like I said, she's a pretty simple character. So her lows, so yeah, this is the other big thing. You should always be backdashing against Eliza. Like, I know there's like the meme of like, you know, just backdash, bro. But against Eliza, it's unironically true. And it's the biggest issue with the character is Backdashing negates two things. First of all, it means she's not gonna clean hit you with down 3, which is good, right? Because she then loses access to her best low, this, which is essentially just a hell sweep. But yeah, if you're letting her get this off like that in the open, you're not moving enough. She should never be getting this in the open unless you're a statue, right? Like if she hits you with this and you're not at the wall, your controller better have fucking died. Because her clean hit range is not as good as Akuma's. Like, it's more inconsistent. So she really can only access this at the wall, which is why she's so scary at the wall. But generally you constantly want to be moving out of the way. Her primary low is this. This is +5, 17 damage, so it's not that much. It leaves her in crouch, so she doesn't have too many options. She can do it again. She can do this, right? This is a true frame trap. Do not mash after this, like, please. This will frame trap you. Even if you dick jab, it will trade, and she will win the trade. She will counter hit you. So don't mash after down 4. It's death on block. As with all her lows, see, literally a staggered low. It's like Lars down back 4, but it has less range. This low is the main threat of this low is as a counter hit launcher. Right, she can high crush you and launch you. Down 3 again. I talked about it. Like her only, I say this in air quotes, safe, because this actually isn't safe. But she has this. Alright. Down 3 into Dark Wave. This is something that Eliza players will do to try and like create this artificial safety. This is really bad because one, even if she does somehow clean hit you, it only does 10 damage. And if you block the Dark Wave, she's -9, right? So she got like what, 10 damage. She's left at -9. As you can see, it has no range, so it just whiffed. This is what happens when it doesn't clean hit. It just whiffs. Right? Like that was me just literally walking back, right? But another important thing is that if it doesn't clean hit, which it shouldn't do if you're moving, and she does this, you can actually step it to the right, and you can blow her up. So this is not good. This is -9. You generally don't want to mash. Also, another thing is like if you block it, right, they try and create that like fake safety. You can interrupt with sending 4. But yeah, this is just not good. You know, 7 damage on a low that leaves you -9. Like, nah, it's not something to ever be scared of. So you really shouldn't ever be ducking Eliza unless you have a hard read on this, right? Because you only need to get one read on this and you basically win because it's death on block. But generally you don't want to be ducking her, right, because of this and her meter moves, which are the next thing to talk about. This is a good move. This is her best move, and you have to watch out. She can do this. It low crushes. It is safe at -9 with a ton of pushback. So it basically resets neutral, kind of. It's one of her few moves that she can kind of just like say fuck it and throw it out there. If she does this version, it's pretty evasive. Evasive. Kind of has like a backswing. She can also jump into it. So with this move, it's really good. Like there's not too much. It also tracks like heavily to both sides. There's not too much to say other than like just try not to run into this. Again, if you're playing defensively, then she probably won't hit you with this and she'll burn her meter, which is what you want. but it is still a good move if used properly because of the low crush, of its safety. So you do have to watch out for this. The other one is EX Dark Wave. So this is plus 10, which means that you can't do anything. You can't even rage art. Do not ever mash into this, like ever, under any circumstance. She gets a free Moonglide mix-up after this. So after this move, if this hits, you kind of just have to guess. That's literally it. You just have to guess mid-low. It's that simple. So those are her two main EX moves. Her other EX moves, this is just a wall splat tool. This is minus 13 though, so you know, punish that if you block. But yeah, these two moves are pretty good. Like, these are her two best moves, and not too much to say. Oh, I can say this. This is a counter hit launcher, so again, another reason to be careful swinging into her. Like, that's really good, right? Because either counter hit launches you or she's plus 10 into a mix up, right? So again, you don't want to be swinging into her, or you don't want to be, you know, in her face, giving her access to potential clean hit on down 3 or just other counter hit tools. So the other thing is the other gimmick. This is a gimmick I want to point out. This. Showmatic loves this. A lot of Elizas love this. This is fake. This used to be real. They nerfed it in Season 4. This was huge. This was like her best move. This was like half her game plan. The counter hit Dickjab. She no longer has it. She can still access the options, but this is completely fake. A lot of Eliza players will like loop this. They like spam this after everything. They flowchart it after everything. They use it to try and keep up their momentum. So there's a couple ways you deal with this, right? First one is you just move back, you know? You just move back. If you're backdashing, if you backdash the Dickjab, the dive kick will just whiff, right? Her dive kicks have very poor range, right? This is her issue, is that her only form of pressure has like literally 0 range, which is why she's so scary at the wall, but not scary at all like in neutral. So you can backdash the dive kick, you can this isn't a good example because her power crush is so slow, but yeah, you can power crush it if you have a better one. You can step it, although this is kind of hard to do. So generally you don't want to do that. Your best option is usually going to be to backdash. You can also, if you have a parry, you can parry it. The dive kicks can be parried. So power crush, right? If you've got a good power crush, you know, say this goes for another character, but like say Kunimitsu back 2, you hit her out of it. The other thing to note is that her dive kick frames change based on where she hits it from. So if she does it up close, as you can see the frame data is changing. So if she hits the Dickjab, right, the Dickjab connects, but the dive kick is blocked, she's usually minus. If the Dickjab and the dive kick are blocked, she's plus, right? That's kind of the general rule. So if the Dickjab hits, the dive kick will be minus 1, right? About minus 1. If the Dickjab is blocked, she's going to be about plus 1. If she's at further range, it can be more plus, but she's really only going to land this up close. It's a Dickjab. But this is important to know. Also, if she does this at the wall, this was a stealth nerf she got. For some reason at the wall, it's 0, even if the Dickjab hits, right, or is blocked. So either way, you can kind of like jab to take your turn, or you can dick jab yourself to steal your turn back. So this is fake, right? Like, so you kind of just have to recognize if the dick jab hit or not. But also after you block the dive kick, it's a good idea. You know, say you don't backdash it. If you block it, it's a good idea to just backdash. Just backdash or step. Generally, just backdash. If you don't know what to do against her, just move. Get out. Right? Because common follow-ups are things like, you know, they'll do this into like something like this, right? Right, they'll loop it. So this is a big thing. A lot of Eliza players exploit this. They try to they'll do a move and then they'll, like I mentioned earlier, like Magic 4, and then they'll do this. See, that's what I was talking about, you know, further range. But again, if you're constantly moving back, if you're constantly trying to space her out, a lot of this stuff will just whiff. So it's pretty fake, and a lot of her stuff is fake because you can just move out of range and force her to chase you down. So that's most of her neutral stuff. That's basically all I wanted to talk about before I get into like Moonglide real quick. But like to sum up, a lot of her stuff has terrible range. Just backdash out of it and force her to come to you. Her lows are just not good, but she has a ton of counter hit launchers. But the big things are make sure you're spacing her out. Make sure you are ducking this. Make sure you are dealing with this, right? With a power crush, generally your best option. Make sure you are stepping this. Do those things and you take away 3 potential big aspects. Like if you are not doing that, she goes from being like I said, probably one of the weaker characters like in the cast to she becomes one of the stronger characters. Like she will just, you're giving her access to tools she doesn't need access to. Like don't give her access to these powerful, you know, long range launchers and shit. Like just don't give it to her. You're just making life 10 times easier for her. So yeah, those are important, right? Because if I see you don't know how to deal with those, I just like I don't have to play Tekken as much, right? I can just do whatever I want. The other thing is her Moonglide. So Moonglide is both very good and very bad. It's not as good as something like Kuni's set because it's slower and it's easier to see coming. So she does risk getting hit out of this, like up close, right? If you want to challenge her, right, you can try and do that. The thing about her Moonglide is she has access to a couple moves. So she has Moonglide 2, which is her forward 2, right? Same move. Everything is the same about it. The difference is it's harder to step. It's one of these weird moves where if you don't step it at the right time, it just realigns with you for some reason. All her Moonglide properties are like this, right? Her moves have these properties where they just realign with you. Do it out here. See? So you can step it that way. Step it this way, but if I step it, see, I stepped it too late. That was too early. That was too early, right? So you can't be early about it. See that? See how it just realigned? So you have to be careful. Generally, you want to step it a little later into it. So even if you don't immediately react to the Moonglide, that's actually fine. Because you have to step late into the Moonglide anyway. Her Moonglide is a lot like Kazumi's, you know, fly stance in that sense. So her main mix-up out of this is Moonglide 2 and Moonglide 4. Which, this is a good mix-up, right? This is a huge buff. Like, this pretty much saved her from being like I think at the time before this buff she might have been the worst, but now she's definitely not the worst because this buff helped her so much. The thing is, it's incredibly risky because obviously Moonglide 4, if blocked, minus 23, like you die. It's death. it's also somewhat obvious, right? Because you have to think of it in the same way you would think of like Kazuya, like, do I eat the hell sweep or do I eat the mid, right? Do I eat the 4-4-3? Generally, you're gonna be like, all right, I'll eat the hell sweep 1 or 2 times. Now hers isn't as comparable because she doesn't get as good Oki, but it's like that but reverse, right? The low is the launcher, the mid is kind of the, you know, moderate damage sort of hell sweep, right? If you want to think of it like that. Actually, her Oki is pretty good. I mean, it's not, she can do another Moonglide mix-up, right? But you have to think of it like that. It's kind of weird because usually it's, you know, eat the low in Tekken, but in this case, if you're not sure, you can maybe try and eat the mid. Eliza players will use this a lot when they're at a life deficit, right? When they're trying to make a comeback, they're probably looking for this. And this is, again, a big issue, is because her lows are so bad, this is really all she can do. This is what I meant when, if you start turtling against her, she has to do something that risks getting her killed. If you just play super defensive, she's gonna have to start doing this, and like, she can die if it gets blocked. You can step it, although it can be a little hard to step. It can be a little hard to step in the open. It's easier to step on wake up, I've noticed, like if she does it on Oki, see? You walk it. But it's like kind of obvious when she's gonna do Moonglide stuff. So that should be taken into account, but it is just a mix-up, right? It is a good mix-up in terms of like the properties on hit. So it's one of those things where, like, yeah, you're just gonna eat it sometimes. It'd be like that. In fact, I'd say generally most of her wins come from, like, she just catches you on a Moonglide 4, she gets you to the wall, you now have to guess. The other important thing about Moonglide 4 is you have to be careful at the wall. Because this mix-up also gets good here, because this wall, both of them wall splat. You can do that. So you have to be careful, because a lot of times people will just eat the low because they're like, the mid wall splats, I don't want to get wall splat, but she'll do that off of this too. Her other Moonglide moves are, she has Moonglide 1, 2. This is high, -8, and then it has a third hit, which is Moonglide 1, 2, 1 plus 2. You're not really gonna see this too much. This is mainly just a combo ender, but it is -13. And then she also has Moonglide 1, 4. This is her new move. This is -11. It's a counter hit launcher, so I use this as like a knowledge check, right? Like to see if you're mashing or to see if you know how to punish it. But this is -11, so make sure you just punish this. But when you see her do Moonglide 1, just don't mash. Just kind of stand there and then just wait. And then she also has access to this again. I already covered this, but she can do Moonglide 3-4, which is her 4-4-3-4. So if you, like, a lot of people will like sidewalk on wake up because they see her going for a Moonglide mix up and they just immediately get up and sidewalk. But if you do that, like, she can hit you with this, so watch out. And then finally is her at the wall. Now I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. If she gets you to the wall, you're fucked. Like, you better pick a god and pray, all right? Or more like pick a guess and pray. You just gotta pray. She has so many options here. The big thing being, let's see if I can still do them. I haven't played in a while, but the dive kicks, right? These dive kicks are really good at the wall because you can't get away from them. They are, as you see, very plus. It depends on how low to the ground you do them, right? The frame data varies and how far you do them. But usually they're going to be anywhere from +1 to +3. Generally they're +3, right? As you can see here. Just assume that you're like dealing with anywhere from +2 to +4. So obviously a lot of people don't realize this and they mash, and if you mash, she can like wall splat you a magic 4, right? She can frame trap you with like this. She can high crush you depending on what you're doing. So you have to make sure, like, respect the dive kicks. Like, don't just mash after them. If she keeps like doing dive kick into dive kick constantly, then yeah, you can disrespect. But generally, don't mash. Other things to look out for, so she has a couple mix-ups here. I already talked about this mix-up. This is a true mix-up, full crouch, down 3, and while standing 1. This is a real mix-up. You just have to guess. She can also do this, right? This wall splats, like everything she does wall splats, like yeah. Like literally everything. EXDP used to wall splat, doesn't anymore, and it doesn't give any Oki, so that's important. But yeah, she has a billion wall splats. So you really do just kind of have to guess. So one important thing though is after her wall combo, if she does this, as you can see, you can tech roll away, right? If you tech roll to the left, you get off the wall. So that's important to know, is to make sure she does that. Now what most Elizas will do is they'll do this wall combo, right? Because as you can see, if you tech, you can't get away, right? Or I can do that. This wall combo has a couple different situations afterwards. So if you try to do a get up kick, I believe most get up kicks, they will get beat by her dive kicks. See, again, haven't played in a while, so if I missed there, see. But yeah, and then she can do this to follow up and wall splash you. So yeah, wake up kicks after this are kind of a no-no. It also beats mid kicks. It beats toe kick. The one thing it does not beat is spring kick. But she can beat your spring kick with what was it? She can do she has a couple things. If I know you're gonna spring kick, I can do that, right? To keep you there. But generally your best option if you see her do this wall ender is to spring kick. Usually, just be careful because she can bait that out. The other thing about tech rolling at the wall, right, is that a lot of times I'll do this wall combo to the flip over wall combo to get you to tech. This is something I do more than most Elizas. I use this a lot, probably the most of any Eliza I've seen, but she has her tech catch. It is kind of situational, and a little inconsistent, but what she can do is, if you see her do this and you see her jab, this goes for most characters, but if you see characters start to jab in their wall combo, they're probably about to tech catch you. Alright, as you can see there, I caught your back. That was actually the weak one. She can... It's kind of, that's why I say it's inconsistent, but she can, in situations, get her full 10-hit combo. If she gets that, you're dead. It's basically a death combo. It's the most powerful tech catch but it has a big condition, which is that she has to guess which way you're teching. So this is why it's always good to mix up how you get up at the wall against Eliza, just to throw her off. This is another big thing. Always like changing how you wake up against her. Because if you tech to the right, I have to sidestep to realign with you. Now you can disguise the sidestep so that she won't notice, but I mentioned this because you just want to mix up like how you wake up against Eliza, because if you just tech roll every time, she'll catch your back and then she'll kill you. So that's another important thing. But other than that, I think that covers most of the wall stuff. Like I said, she just has really powerful mix-ups here. You kind of have to guess. If you get put into this situation, like, I mean, that's her whole game plan. Of course she's going to be strong here. But the other big thing I would say is, because of that, if you're in like a tournament, you're fighting a Showmatic or any Eliza, and you lose, pick an infinite stage. Just switch to an infinite stage. Do not think. However, I don't care if you want the walls. however much you think you need the walls and you think your character needs the walls, Eliza needs them more. I don't think there's a single character in this game that relies more on walls. Her entire game plan is the wall. That's what she wants. Because again, when you're on an infinite stage, you force her to play neutral, and her neutral is bad because at an infinite stage, you can just run away. Especially you as Lei, you can just hit and run, and then you just start haha stepping away. She can't catch you. Like, what's she gonna do? All her stuff is stubby, you know? She's not gonna catch you. But, yeah, generally, you want to just be careful with, like, to wrap this all up. Try not to brawl her if you don't have to, right? There are situations where maybe she has a big life lead and you kind of have to take those risks. You know, that's just a Tekken thing. But, you know, if you can, try to hang back, right? I don't play Lei, so I don't know, you know, what he has. But, like, a lot of stuff like this, like, you don't want to be doing this. Because the thing is, right, a lot of characters, they're going to do a quick mid against Lei. But what I'm going to do is, because it's only 1 frame slower, I'll do this. Right? See that? Like, I'll just counter hit you. So this is super powerful against Leis who try to constantly like razor rush into a mix-up. Is back 1-2. This is such a good tool against Lei specifically. It blows him up really hard. You can't be on the ground against her as much because of her fireballs. Like she can throw those at you to knock you off the ground. Or, you know, when you're on the ground, again, I don't know like how Lei gets on the ground. But oh, there you go. But like, if I see you do this, like I'll jump back, right? Like especially if I'm out of range and I think you know you're gonna do like that slide. I can jump back. I can fireball you. She has too many options to beat that stuff, to the point where I do consider this one of her better matchups. You know, she might not be a great character, but she does have good matchups, you know, like every character. I think she does well against Lei. I think she can do well against Hwoarang. She actually does pretty well against Steve. You know, she can do well against characters like, you know, Fang. I think she can do pretty well against. So you have to keep that in mind. This is just going to be a struggle matchup for Lei. But you have to get out of that mindset of like, let me get my momentum and do my mix-ups. This goes for everyone. When you play against a character like Eliza, or like characters like Chloe even, right? Chloe's the same way, where Chloe's not a strong character, but she can run you over really quick because she has really strong situational, you know, situational strengths, right? She's really good at just, you know, going under your mid and killing you. Same thing with Eliza, she's good at counter hitting you and killing you. The difference is a character like Eliza versus a character like Geese or a character like Brian is that you don't have to play into her, right? Eliza is very good if you play into her, but if you just run away, now she's gonna have to come to you and take big risks. Because a character like Brian, who kind of does the same thing, which is like counter hit you, get you to the wall, kill you, the difference is if you just say, okay, what if I don't swing into you? You have to initiate the offense. You know what Brian's gonna say? Okay, bet. Boom. You know, and if you block it, it's minus 13. So the point is, Eliza is pretty simple. She's pretty risky. You just have to know her frames, play very defensive, know which moves are fake, and force her out of her comfort zone. And as a player like Showmatic tends to, he just wants to do whatever he wants. I've noticed he's one of those Eliza players who will exploit her gimmicks a lot. So when you're dealing with a player like that who's just kind of used to everything he does working, you have to like, it's really just about knowing the matchup and just saying, all right, I'm not gonna play into your game plan. I'm not gonna feed you the stuff you're looking for, and force him to play solid. Like I think he's a very good Eliza player. Don't get me wrong, but the difference between like him and like someone like Junya is that Junya knows how to switch it into like super defensive, like, you know, just really solid. I don't need any of the gimmick stuff. which is why, you know, he can end up winning in ICFC as he did. So yeah, just try to look at these. I'll put some timestamps and for future reference if you ever need to go back. But yeah, I hope this helps. Like I said, she's still going to be a problem because nobody plays her. She's one of the rarest characters. You just never get experience against her. But if any of this helped, no, I'm glad to help. And if I ever do come back to the game, I'll be happy to run some sets.